the other team's quarterback was an MVP candidate a couple of years ago in Jalen Hurts. Last year, he was injured for a lot of the year. This year, it's all about Saquon Barkley. Now, before I play this sound, okay, I love you. I want to keep working with you. I want you to react to this, not as Rodney Harrison, the player, but as Rodney Harrison, the analyst. Please don't react to this as Rodney Harrison, the player. Here's Joe Whitt Jr., Commanders defensive coordinator, on what they plan to do to Jalen Hurts if he decides to run the football on Sunday. Have a listen.
Well, we've had a number of these guys that we've had to prepare for, and so the one thing is if he's going to run the ball and if the coordinator makes a decision for him to run the ball, we're going to treat him like a running back, and we're going to hit him that way. So that's their decision if they want to get him hit the way that he gets hit. If they don't, they'll keep him in the pocket. But that's what we're going to do.
It's an amazing clip, and you need to see it to appreciate it because people don't talk that bluntly anymore because the quarterbacks have that bubble around them like the Pope Mobile in games now. But when you become a runner, you become a runner. And the only protection you have left is sliding. And maybe you're going to slide a little too late, and you're going to draw a foul when two teammates crash into each other. But, hey, he's sending the message, especially when Jalen Hurts is banged up with that knee injury that we don't know how bad it is. And
tell him to go look at the Mike, listen, let me talk. Tell him to go look at the Houston Texans film against the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, because listen, as a player, we love that tough talk. I'm talking about as an analyst, and we understand how they're going to protect these quarterbacks. They're going to protect the quarterbacks. You could treat him in your mindset as any way you want, but at the end of the day, if you hit him illegally, if you hit him in the head, they're going to throw the flag. So go back and watch the Kansas City versus the Texans game, and he'll see. But as a player, of course, I love it because now we're saying, hey, we're going to be aggressive with this guy. He runs. We're going to be physical. And guess what? On those RPOs, they're all going after Saquon. They're forcing Jalen Hurts to keep the ball, to hold the ball. And that's what you're supposed to do as a coach. You're supposed to say, hey, when this guy gets out in the open, we're going to hit him. We're going to punish him. And players already know, okay, is it his right knee? Well, I'm not going to tackle him high if it's his right knee. I'm going directly at his knees. And that's just what it is, whether you like it or not.
And he's got the combination, too, because he had that concussion that caused him to miss a couple of games. And again, look, we're not endorsing it. We're not saying it should happen this way. We understand this is what happens. This
is pro football.
He's been sliding more. Since he's come back from that concussion, it seems that he's been sliding more. And that's the thing that they have to be concerned about. Yes, you can treat him like a running back, but running backs don't slide in the open field. Running backs put their heads down and go for every last blade of grass they can get. Quarterbacks slide, and that's the challenge, and that's how defensive players can get themselves frozen. But I think implicit in what Joe Whitt Jr. is saying is he's telling his guys to just go make the tackle. And don't worry if you've committed to the tackle and he started to slide, we're just going to have to live with it. And maybe they will throw a flag. But
well, you can't. You know what?
We're going to treat him like a running back.
The tough guy act sounds good, but at the end of the day, those penalties, they keep drives going. They keep drives moving on. And I would love to have heard him say something about, hey, Saquon Barkley, we're going to make sure that he doesn't get 150 yards, 200 yards. That's who he should be talking about. Because
he talked about him later. He talked about him later.
Yeah.
Because, Rodney, Chris and I have been talking about this all week. If you let Saquon Barkley gain 200 yards, you're done. But if you can keep him between 100 and 150, you got a chance because Jalen Hurts is going to have to make some plays. And if that knee is injured, and I remember how much he labored last year when his knee was injured and they never put it on the injury report, but everybody knew it was the weirdest thing. If he can't move and if you force him to throw and their passing game isn't as developed, especially when you rely so much on Saquon Barkley, you get to the end of the season, your passing game hasn't developed because it's like when in doubt, just give the ball to Saquon. It's like the Vikings when they had Adrian Peterson. They never could develop a passing game because we're just giving the ball to Adrian. So you force it toward Hurts in the passing game, you got a chance if you're the Commanders. And I think this is part of the effort to force it toward the passing game and not the running game of Jalen Hurts because I think the Commanders believe they can handle the passing game.
And that's what you're supposed to do. And I was really surprised with the Rams. The Rams came out and they kind of loaded the box, but they still had a middle of the field free safety who was 12 to 14 yards deep, and he served no purpose. My point was when we had that game, take the free safety out of the middle of the field, put him in the box. Now you narrow that space where Saquon, instead of Saquon having 8 or 10 yards of free space coming at you as a safety, now maybe it's only 2 or 3 yards. That gives you a better opportunity to tackle him in the open field. And that would be my exact game plan. If I'm Dan Quinn, I'm loading up the box. I'm taking a free safety out of the middle. I'm maybe favoring A.J. Brown a little bit, but I'm going to force Jalen Hurts to beat me. And has he proven that he can go out there and pass and beat a team consistently enough? No, it's been Saquon Barkley, and he's been a direct beneficiary of having Saquon Barkley. But to me, it comes down to Jalen Hurts and forcing him to make those plays on that hurt knee.
Before we pivot to the AFC Championship, one thing that I want to get your thoughts on as it relates to the Commanders. They come in as the 6th seed. Nobody expects anything from them. They're playing with house money. They get the upset win over the Buccaneers, and then they go into the Lions' den, literally, and they win there. And it's easy to do that, or it's easier. It's never easy, but it's easier when you go in there loose because you're not supposed to be there. You're not supposed to win. Let's just go play our game. If we lose, so what? If we win, holy cow. I feel like the higher you climb, the harder it is to continue to have that mindset. At some point, you look down and you realize, wow, we're pretty high on this ladder. We better not fall. And I just wonder if they can continue that mindset, because it's a valuable mindset. And maybe being 6-point underdogs is what helps. And maybe the stuff Quinn was saying about being dismissed early in the year is aimed at keeping that mindset. I just think
All
it gets
that is
harder and
used.
harder. When you get here, one step from the Super Bowl, I think the house money thing goes out the window. Right now, it's like we got one game and we're in the Super Bowl. Holy crap, how did we get here?
Mike, I don't think any of that. I don't think they're thinking about any of that stuff. I think they understand. Hey, we're a very good team. We belong. We belong here. We got a bunch of veteran players. We got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're not looking like they're shell shocked because they're in this situation. They're looking like, hey, we've overcome some things. We've worked hard this year, and we've done the things that we're supposed to do. They feel like they can go and beat the Eagles there. The Eagles are a beatable team, but it's things that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to stop that run. They're going to have to deal with that big offensive line, and that's something that is going to be hard to do. When I was there this past Sunday, they were working on double teams. It was Mekhi Becton and Lane Johnson, and I'm like, look at the size of these dudes. Coming off the ball, practicing the double teams. That's where the game is going to be won or lost. But overall, I don't think the Washington Commanders are sitting back saying, oh my God, we're here. I can't believe we're here. I think they're so caught up in the moment that they're so focused. It's about the details of things. Hey guys, this is what we need to do on the defensive side of the ball to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket. This is what we need to do. They're not worried about what people think or if they should be considered one of the top teams. They don't care about none of that stuff, Mike.
Well, everybody's going to be paying attention to what they can do on Sunday in Philadelphia as they get a chance for the first time since 1991. They were the last team other than the Cowboys of the 95 season. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.